gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of StarCraft Inc. It feels like we're seeing a lot more of each other lately, and that is awesome, because this game is between Mouse Mana and MTW Dimaga. Dimaga spawning as the Red Zerg in the bottom of Metalopolis, and the Protoss player Mouse Mana spawning in the top. Now, Mouse Mana is most notable for his semi-final placement in DreamHack against Nama. Mana, Nama, kind of anagrams for each other, but man, that is the most memorable game for me because Mana is freaking awesome. He's so patient in his play. His timings are beautiful. He knows when and what he is capable of, and it's just, freaking love the guy. So that's a Protoss player that you need to watch. Dimaga, Mana, he's pretty impressive, man. Dimaga over here is the first Zerg. The first Zerg. Shut up, Luke Hitchman. He is the first Zerg to ever beat Nestea in a televised match. So he beat Nestea one-on-one in his ZVZ, the first person to ever do it in a televised match. So that's pretty awesome. And he's a Zerg player who considers himself a rival with July Zerg. He feels that July Zerg is his ZVZ rival. So that's pretty cool. I like little feuds like that. It's kind of like Huck and Idra. Those two guys hate each other with a passion. It's so funny to see those two make each other angry. Anyway, Metalopolis makes for good games, I'd say, because these thirds, when you spawn in close positions, you find that the players end up fighting over those thirds, and that's pretty cool. Also, the golds are so close to any spawn location that they're extremely hard to hold, and both players just go apeshit trying to, attack those locations, keep the towers, and just so much interesting stuff happens in games where, players play aggressive on this map. And I mean, it's kind of a small map. It's a pretty small map no matter where you spawn, even in long distances, to the point where, yeah, both players are just, it screams be aggressive. So I like that a lot. It definitely makes for entertaining games, and this one is rated 10 out of 10 on Gosu Gamers. So we do see Mouse Mana circling around in the expo zone. He's going to try to block that hatchery, and here comes the drone. Gonna send Lings down, and nothing's happening here. There's no way this probe is going to delay any longer, and now the drone's going to make that hatch. But at least Mouse Mana knows that the hatch timing, what it is roughly, and you can see that Mana is using his... well, he was using his chrono on his Nexus. He's using all of it, so there's not going to be any kind of early warp tech play. It seems to be one gateway. The double gas, though, we could be seeing a 3-gate expand. At any rate, he's using most of his chrono on his Nexus. He was chronoing out his gateway, which is good because he wants that Zealot in the wedge because he did see those Lings. It's on hold position, so it won't run away after this Zergling and give it a chance to get inside. It's always good. Stalker actually spawning on the wrong side of the wall, but I mean, maybe he did this on purpose, get some scouting off. Check for those Zerglings before he tries to do any kind of expanding, and that's exactly what's happening. This probe's going to come down here. He's saving up for that Nexus. He's actually going to get a pylon first, and we'll see. It's probably going to be really early Nexus, 1-gate Nexus, which you see a lot against Terran, but not so much Zerg. Sometimes people go Nexus first or 3-gate expand. It's usually one or the other. I've not seen this kind of in-between before. But it gets you a Nexus very quickly. Downside is you do not have your production out as quick. So, we'll see how this transitions into mid to late game. If it gets that far, I don't even know. I do not know what to expect. MTW Dimaga is, it looks like he's droning hard. I'm actually going to take a look at the income tab. We are 28 to 27. So actually he's pulling way ahead of the Protoss player, despite how much chrono is actually being spent on the Nexus. That's the Zerg capability to macro right there, and this is why it's always a good idea to pressure the Zerg player. I mean, look at this. He has absolutely no military units. He's got a couple of Zerglings spread throughout the map. These two are going to take the towers, I think. Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen. And then this one here is sitting here to wait for the third. It's spotting for the third. Although it's going to go in here. It's going to see what's up. It's going to make sure that nothing's building up to push out. He wants to see what that building is, because I mean, this could have been a Twilight or a rowboat, but it's just going to be a gateway. Nothing fancy. And what's over here? That's another gate as well. I don't know if Dimaga has spotted that. Dimaga has not seen that other gateway. So, interesting. And he will be taking this third. But yeah, look, there's no army here for Dimaga at all. He's going to get Evolution Chamber, and he's just going balls out on this build, not even getting a single Spine Crawler. He knows that one Spine Crawler will not make the difference if he gets pushed now. If he gets pushed now, it is game over. If a surprise attack comes, it is bad news bears for Dimaga. It looks like Mouse Mana will be pushing out, but it is spotted by the Zerg player with that single Ling. This hallucinated Phoenix on both sides are going to fly around and take a look. Now, hallucination is something that is not used by Protoss players nearly enough, and it is amazing how much scouting information you can get just by hallucinating a Phoenix, just like this. And scouting is so hard to do against Zerg because they have so much creep, it's hard to even get close to their bases. You basically end up scouting with your attack. So being able to get in there and see what's up with those Phoenix, with an observer, something like that, it is so key. And Ling getting in here, going to see that extra gateway, going to see that both gases are up and saturated. Not going to get up into here because Mana last minute warps in a Zealot, so good play there. Spotting that scouting Ling, and there's no spotting here in the smoke. I hope that doesn't play against Mana in the future. Dimaga can use this space for a Nidus or even just unloading an Overlord, and I hope Mana thinks to spot there soon. That could spell a very quick loss for him if he does not spot it. Anyway, Dimaga, man, he's really, really working hard on these harvesters. Although now that there are 2 Nexus up, the Protoss player can kind of keep up. He's 3 Nexus, but only 2 producing right now, obviously. So we're going into a really wicked macro game right here, ladies and gentlemen. The thing is, the Zerg player is going to have to be a base ahead the whole time. And the reason being is, you know, Protoss units cost more, but you get what you pay for. They are rock sturdy. And if the Zerg player allows him to keep up in production when they are both maxed together, the Protoss army will be stronger. That being said, if the Zerg player can do enough damage, he will be able to remax faster than the Protoss, which is a great feature of Zerg. And it allows you to use your larva on what you already know is on the field. So, for example, if he's going heavy stalker, you know what you need to spit out, right? Whereas Protoss and Terran, they really have to think ahead. They need to plan. They don't have that reactionary capability like Zerg does. So, that is a huge feature of Zerg, guys. Keep that in mind if you're a Zerg player and you haven't already figured that out for yourself. But, I mean, I hope you have. That's like the peanut warning on peanut butter. It makes me sad that anyone needs to be reminded. And we've got a nice little wall here for Mana. That makes me smile. Cannons behind to prevent any kind of run-bys or flanks. I really like that a lot, to be honest. I don't see that enough from Protoss players. And it really allows you, like, a lot of the problem against Zerg is it's hard to leave your base because run-bys are motherfuckers. But, you know, when you do little things like that, it makes it a lot easier. And the Roaches would really have to take a lot of damage from the 2 cannons in order to get by that wall. And there's a sentry to narrow the choke. He's full energy. Lots of force fields could go down in that space. It's absolutely beautiful. We do see a 4th hatch going down for Dimaga. And, man, this is going to turn into one hell of a game. Infestors out already. And that makes me cringe because Infestors are scary if you don't have a good Phoenix count, if you don't have High Templar to feedback those. I wonder if we're going to see Neural Parasite. Where is the Infestation Pit? I don't see it. There it is. We don't have Neural Parasite on the way yet. It's not completed either. And so, Armor 1 coming out for the Protoss player, which is an interesting choice. It's not often that you see them go for armor. We are seeing a bit of a wall up here for Dimaga, and I like that play a lot. He will probably creep forward with those when they are completed. And where did that observer go? I wonder if the observer was spotted. No, the observer from Mana is still right here. Not really seeing much, though. I'm sure, though, he doesn't want to move it around too much. It will get spotted, and an Overseer can quickly come over and take that out. As I say that, it does move around. It is tagged to the army now, I believe. It's tagged to that Infestor. Observers will be key, as those Infestors will have Burrow eventually, I'm sure. More Spines, 4 Spines actually in production, and 7 Infestors, as well as a Spire in production for the Zerg player. So this is going to be quite the tech-heavy match. Blink on the way for the Protoss, which he will desperately need. This is not the army composition you want against infestors. Stalkers, you know, even with Blink, they can't fight back. You can chain lock those Stalkers to their death, and the sentries, they're all clustered up too. A chain fungal to those will finish them off very, very quickly. Zealot gonna move forward, take that tower, and it looks like Mousman is gonna try to take this Gold Expo, as it looks like the 5th. Did I already see this one? No, I couldn't have, because it just started. The 5th base is starting for Dimaga. This is becoming quite the game already, and there are the High Templar. I'm glad he finally got those, although he doesn't want to sit around with his army clumped up like this. If he gets surprised, if he gets ambushed by these infestors, he's going to lose everything to fungal growth. And keeping his Colossus count low, notice he built just one, and one only. Sometimes that can make the Zerg player overreact and get a shit ton of Corruptors when the Colossus count is never actually going to get that big. It looks to me like the Nexus is farther from the minerals than it has to be. But I could just be crazy. I don't know. That's odd to me. Anyway, we are seeing Archons. He didn't want as many High Templar as he had. I'm not sure if Storm is even researched. It looks like there's a small attack squad going down the south side, probably just to recede creep. I imagine that's all it's for. Lots of spine crawlers going down. Spine crawlers are a good thing to purchase if you find you have too many drones and not enough supply in your army. It's a good way to just bolster the firepower your army has, because they do not cost supply, and they will actually free up supply for you. So an interesting little twist there. And every race has that, right? Cannons are a beautiful thing, because you can creep forward on the map with them so easily. And missile turrets are good for Terran too, for forward detection. They protect your tanks beautifully from DTs and air attacks. So, here comes a push from Mousman. Blinking back already. We do see a run by here. He's going to try to go and do some damage back at home. Storm is on the way now, and there's nothing here to protect this line. What is Mana doing? Why did he not have anything here to protect? Oh, this is painful to watch, although most of that line actually gets away. A hold position micro here from Dimaga to get some lings into that line. Roach is coming up here into the Gold Expo, and there are High Templar being warped in. There are some more probes going down. This is not good for Mana at all. He's playing a little bit sloppy in terms of defense. He's got a nice offensive army. This Roach army is in a hold position. That's how he chose to deal with the line. Stalkers blinking in there and cutting those Roaches down where they stand. Ling's trying to go down to the left side of the map. They're going to check for an Expo over here and here, I'm sure. Although the Overlord already spotted there. They will try to run by here, seeing that wall, and that's what I mean. They could not get in. However, these Lings are going to go for this Expo now, but 2 cannons are up. That will be more than enough. Lings go around the long way, and there was nothing there to stop them from just avoiding this wall. And now we are going to see the Protoss player push into this wall of spines. This is not where he wants to be. Storm going down, as well as feedback on those infestors. Storm going down on the Broodlords. There's so many Broodlords, lots of spines, but despite the spine count, they melt to Archon Zealot. Spines on the high ground, stopping the Protoss player from moving in. There are so much Protoss. This base got completely cleaned up, and the Lings ended up dying to the cannons. So those Lings were really cost effective. They paid for themselves. Chain fungal going down on the Protoss army, as well as a boatload of infested Terran, and lots of Corruptors out. They will be able to deny any kind of Colossus play in the future, and they will turn into more Broodlords. The Protoss army needs to back out. They do not have what they need to deal with the count of Broodlords right now. So many infestors as well. They will stop retreat. Feedback going down on those infestors. Storm going down on the Roaches. Force field cutting the army off from the Protoss. Colossus doing damage from a distance, and a mass Stalker warp in from the warp gates. This Protoss player is good at his macro as well as his attack at the same time, simultaneously doing both. Chain fungal going down on everything. He needs more feedback. He needs some Storm. The Stalker's taking heavy damage from the fungal. More fungal going down on those Stalkers. They are armored units, so they take a shit ton of damage from that fungal growth. And the Stalkers push deep into the Zerg base. Will they be able to finish the game right here? I don't know if they can. There are a lot of infestors, and all they need is energy. More broodlords coming in, but I don't know if it's going to be too late or not. These stalkers just annihilating the spine crawlers. The macro for the Protoss player is unbelievable. His unit count and reproduction rate is incredible. This gold expo definitely helps. I don't even know how many gateways he has. It didn't seem like he had that many, and I don't have time to count because this game is getting real. And I wish he had some observers here for, you know, creep recession. Why didn't he finish off the hatchery? There he goes. The weapons upgrades on these stalkers is 2, armor 1, and oh my goodness, what a place to engage here. Storm going down on the broodlords, trying to kill the broodlings. There are so many broodlings. I think I see fungal, but I'm not even sure. So much going on here. The broodlords, as well as the roaches and the fungal growth, melt the stalker count, but at the same time, the stalkers dealt with all the broodlords. Roaches getting in the mix, and just so much going on here. The Immortals evaporating those roaches. As we watch this engagement, Dimaga is taking Gold Expo, and all these infestors caught here. They do not want to be here. They have nowhere to go. They do not have burrow. They cannot escape that way, and it looks like Dimaga is losing a lot of hatcheries here. I don't know how he can recover. We are seeing Lings trying to pick off the reinforcing chain of stalkers. So many roaches here. He needs to pay attention. And did he get all those infestors? It looks like he got a lot of them. Archon's being warped in from the empty High Templar, and just pushing all these units back into the corner. Broodlords need to get off the ground, but they don't have time to stop shooting. They need to keep sending those broodlords into this army. They have focused firing down the hatchery before they leave, and it looks like both this Colossus and this Archon will go down. No, the Colossus looks like it will get away. The Archon does go down. The Lings will chase down this Colossus as it tries to get to the high ground. Look at this! Zealots attacking the Gold Expo. This was just a slaughter fest. The Protoss player beating the Zerg into submission. The Zerg player is down to 2 hatcheries. Both of those mined out. A third going up and a fourth going up over here, as well as a fifth respawning over here. The Protoss player needs to keep up the pressure. He needs an observer over here to recede this creep. Production for the Zerg is just minimal right now. Look at this wall of spine crawlers. He will be able to use that the best of its ability to deny stalkers from getting into the infestors and broodlords, but they do not burrow in time. But now the stalkers are stuck and they are in too deep. Fungal going down, chain locking them into position. Zealots trying to get in. Colossus just violating these roaches, and the Zerg army was just pummeled there. Protoss doing an amazing job of spending all his money, but his forces are dwindling. Zerg sitting on quite a mineral bank right now, despite losing all those hatcheries. But the problem here is, the problem here, I think he needs to redrone. No, he's actually still sitting at 44, which isn't awful. It's good for how many bases he has. And I want to take a look at the army value right now. We're looking at 2,500 for the Protoss player, and only 1,300 for the Zerg. Back to production. Only High Templars being warped in for the Protoss, now Archons, and drones being made for the Zerg player. No military being created at this time. There we go. Now we're seeing 16 Lings as well as Corruptors. The Broodlords, there's only a few on the map and only a few infestors. I feel that the Protoss player needs to push now. He's long distance mining his opponent's Gold Expo, which is hilarious to me. Here come the charge lots, trying to get in on this position. Spine's just finishing, and now they're on top of the Stalkers. Ling's getting in the mix, and the Stalkers trying to focus fire the important targets, such as the infestors and the broodlords. He did manage to get everything he wanted to get, but now his forces are dwindling. That immortal will go down. These stalkers soon to follow. An observer finally in the mix, but it's too late. Those Lings will chase those stalkers down. They will see the long distance mining of the Gold Expo, which, I mean, what do you even think when you see that? That's so funny. I'd be so pissed. So even if the Zerg does manage to get this, half the minerals from it are gone, which is such a brilliant play if you ask me. The Protoss player is nearly mined out of all his bases. He's got the Gold Expo and he's got this one. Long distance mining his opponent's Gold Expo, I guess, is a better choice to him. I don't see why, but regardless of his decision making there, I mean, I don't even know what to think of that. It looks like he did manage to snipe this expo that was going up here. Has not yet found this expo up here. He absolutely needs to keep up the pressure, but he's just sitting on no money right now. His income is stupid low. 800. So the Zerg is actually ahead in income. I don't know why the Protoss player didn't come over here and mine from this in the first place. I guess trying to prolong, he's going for endurance. Strip mining this will minimize the length of time that the Zerg can hold out in this game. However, he smashed into the Zerg, losing his army every time, killing the Zerg's army as well, but it seems like the Zerg was far more cost effective as he has not mined these bases out yet. The Protoss player still has this base available to him, and he needs to get this one for himself. The Gold Expo was definitely a burst in income for him, but we'll see about his own endurance. This is going to be a very close game, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell already. And I hope you're in it for the long haul, because I think it's going to be a long one. And I'm glad he has that observer with him this time. Receding the creep is important at this point. He does not want to let the Zerg know when he's coming. But here comes the Zerg down the center of the map. The center of his side of the map, I should say. And he's going to try to get into a good position to engage properly. The wrong engagement will cause... Ooh, getting the Greater Spire. That is a great pickup for the Protoss player. As I was saying, the Zerg cannot afford to throw his army away, and he needs to engage properly and do the most damage he possibly can. Going back to the production tab, we are seeing this hive. More Broodlords started before that Greater Spire went down. He's going to try to rebuild his Spire as well. Oh, there's the layer tech that we were looking at earlier. Thought it was a new hatch. So, a fungal growth going down on that observer. Chain fungling it down. How he even knew it was there, I'm not sure. But a good play by the Zerg player. I think that was a good spend of his energy. We are going to see him drop that Nexus now. I'd like to see him even double expand and get this one too. That Overlord spewing creep is going to be very frustrating for the Protoss to deal with when he needs the Expo. It's just kind of like breaking rocks. You need to get that out of the way before you actually need it. Because if you have to wait to break those rocks, if you have to wait for that creep to recede in a clutch moment, that could spell a loss for you. And we are seeing the Protoss player warping a lot of stuff here. I am curious. I want to count those gateways now. We have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 gateways. So not the most I've ever seen, but that is a lot of gateways regardless. So this is becoming a half-map game. The Zerg player getting all his hatcheries back up, actually. The Protoss player needs to come in and neutralize this one. Killing these ones aren't important anymore, simply because they are not being mined from. He needs to cut off the source of income from the Zerg. Pushing down this side just seems silly. And now there are going to be a lot of spine crawlers. Look at the army size of this Zerg player. I mean, the food is in favor of the Protoss, but the tech is in favor of the Zerg. So, a Broodlord Infestor is insane. Lots of Storm going down, Fungal Growth returning the favor, but it looks like Storm is doing its job. It is slowly melting all those brooches. The Broodlord's just standing in it, but I saw actually transfuse from the Queen, and look how hard the Protoss took losses. The losses on the Protoss side were very in favor of the Zerg. Going over to the units lost tab, as you can see, the Protoss player, wow, actually I would have thought that the Protoss player had lost more. It seems that each time the Protoss player attacks, he loses more than the Zerg, but I guess I was wrong. Anyway, the Zerg player has got a lot of shit. I mean, you can't deny that, and he's got some pretty good map control just because of his creep, just because of this Overlord, and there you go. Here comes the probe. He sees this stuff. He's going to splish splash around in that falling creep. And the Protoss player, he's going to come over here and he's going to try to deal with that. Just sending his Stalkers, leaving his Archon Zealot behind. And once he... I don't know how he's going to deal with this. It is wisely spread out. Dimaga splitting up all his units so they cannot be stormed, so that all the infestors cannot be fed back at once. And he's finally mining pretty hard again off 2 bases. He will not be able to get this third anytime soon. It will be too hard to defend against the Protoss. And finally that Overlord goes down, decides to construct a gas for God knows why. He's going to come up here and he's going to get that Nexus back. So I would put the game in Protoss's hands right now. He needs to be smarter with his attacks though. He can't lose as much as he did last time. So, Protoss is actually sitting on quite the heavy mineral bank. He can dump that pretty hard on Zealots, although I don't know if that would be a wise investment, as Zealots are not what he needs right now. He is mining out of all the gases he has. Interesting to see that this is mined out. Those are mined out. Those are mined out. He doesn't have much gas left. And even in these, we've got about 4 or 5k between those. And another 5k. So there's 10,000 gas left in this game for the Protoss. Not counting the Gold Expo. And I feel that there's going to be a lot more here. Oh, actually, the Zerg. The Zerg, my friend, has mined almost all his gas. He's not quite done the Gold Expo at all yet, though. So, this is definitely going to come down to endurance. I don't think that it's going to be a one battle ends all thing at this point. These two are going to wither each other down into nothing, and everybody's got a breaking point. This will fold eventually. Guys, it's become a big standoff. Right now, the standoff, I think, favors the Zerg. Despite his lack of supply compared to the Protoss players, he is definitely, like I said, winning in tech. His units are so much more beefy. It looks like we have a drop here, or some kind of warp in. They do snipe that Greater Spire once again, but that was a lot of minerals to throw down the shitter. And in a game like this, I don't know if he can afford it. It almost might be better to let the Zerg player build those Broodlords and just snipe them. He needs some Void Rays, I think. Void Rays or Phoenix. Phoenix maybe would work really well. There's not much anti-air here other than the Infestors, but the Phoenix can pick those up and nullify their ability, allowing the ground units to come in and just dominate on the ground. He does have those Archons, and they will do so much damage, as well as the High Templar for splash. Here we see more Zealots coming in to do damage once again, and will he get the damage done? He needs to kill a lot to make these Zealots pay for themselves. They will get fungal locked down in place. That is the end of their lives. And the Protoss player, I don't know what he's doing. He needs those as part of his army comp, and I'm not even sure. Okay, Warp Prism. I was going to say, I'm not sure how he's even doing that. There were Corruptors wandering around waiting to see how the Protoss is doing that. They are now just on patrol. Sorry, that yawn was bound to happen. They are now on patrol, and we'll be looking for any kind of free unit. We do see Lings running down the map, trying to do some scouting, army scouting at the very least, and they will run into this Archon, who turns him into an itty-bitty mess on the floor. I thought Zerg was supposed to evolve, and that seems like a step down to me. Just saying. And I would like to see actually some blink play. There we go. We've got Stalkers up on the high ground. The Zerg army trying to get in there. He needs to run before the fungal goes down, and it does not work. He's going to get chain fungled. The Protoss player will lose everything here. Fungal growth is going to deny his units from getting away, although they get too far ahead of himself. Stalkers do get a few infestors, but the Zerg army slaughters the Protoss player. The Protoss player does not make it worth it. Oh my goodness, he lost so much there. I don't even know what to say. The Zerg player, oh, there we go. There's those Void Rays. Did I not call that? I called that. I did. I did do that. Anyway, credit for me. The Zerg player, like I said, is sitting on a huge bank. The Protoss player will need to split up those Void Rays and make sure they do not all get fungled down simultaneously. And hopefully the Corruptor count for the Zerg player is not too high, although it looks like he got brave and made a lot of Broodlords. Felt he did not need those Corruptors, which was silly on the Zerg's part. I think that could lose him the game. The Zerg is not doing enough scouting. He needs to make Overseers. He needs to make what do you call those? Shit, son of a bitch. He needs to make Changelings, and you know, really scout the Protoss player hard. He needed to see these Void Rays, and he didn't, and that could lose him the game. But who knows? Those Stalkers that he just lost, that's going to be huge in the long run. Stalkers, when he does those blink ups, he needs to set the observer on the ramp so that he can see when those infestors are coming. He needs to get out before they're in range to fungal, and it'll go much better for him if he can do that in the future. He's going to push down the right side of the map, and well, it looks like he is. I mean, he's maxed. He shouldn't sit around any longer. I don't know why he is. Maybe trying to save up a bit of a bank. I don't know why he wouldn't push. He is freaking maxed. There's nothing else he can do. I'm waiting on this observer, I guess. The observer is going to go up ahead of the army. I guess that is a really good idea. So that is what he was doing, ladies and gentlemen. He was waiting on that observer. And look at this! Jumping forward to try to do some damage to those spines before they can get up. And, yeah, it's too late. They're already up. So the Zerg player is going to push forward alongside the spines, and here comes the engagement. Stalkers blinking up onto the high ground to spread themselves out, but they get mauled by the mass fungal growth. But a lot of the fungal growth was wasted on the Stalkers. Still a lot. Those, oh my goodness, those Void Rays are all clustered up. This is exactly what he needed not to do, and he's going to lose every single Void Ray to that fungal growth. Every single freaking one. And they're being chain fungal down there, all going down. They will go down, and every single Void Ray goes down to those fungal growths. However, there is still a big bank on the Protoss' side of the field. He's got a lot of resources left. The Zerg player has a lot of minerals, but almost no gas. I don't think he has the ability to tech switch into anything like Corruptors to deal with any more Void Rays. Archon's coming out, but he did not kill enough of the Broodlords. He did not kill enough of the Infestors, and those Infestors are a recyclable army. They will continue to construct infested Terran. We will see those changelings come out now for the Zerg player. And the Zerg player is going for that gold expo, which could be huge. Look at all the Archons. Archons, I don't know, are the right choice because they are useless against something like the Infestors. They are useless against something like the Broodlords, as the Broodlings will be in the way. Remember, they cannot be fungled in place because they are considered massive now. But like I said, those Broodlords will stop them where they are, even if focus fired, because there would just be too much stuff on the ground. Void Rays were the right choice. He just can't group them up like he did. Although he is building 2 more. I didn't think he was going to build any more, but he is building 2 more. Hopefully he can use them a little bit better than this time. He cannot wait very long, or these Infestors will have more mana again, and he needs to attack well. They cannot use, like, as soon as these are full of fungals again, he's in trouble. Fungal growth is absolutely annihilating him in this situation. And, oh man, I can't fathom how this game is going to end. I don't know who will end up pulling ahead. The Zerg player is actually going to try to long distance mine. Not a good choice. The Void Ray is going to come in here, and I don't know if that's safe. If an Infestor catches us, he needs to pull back, and he is. There he goes. Good choice by the Protoss player backing out when he did. And it looks like more spines and spores and things of that sort are going down. Just a static defense creep up the map into Protoss territory. And I don't know how the Protoss player can make this work. It actually looks pretty hopeless at this point because there are so many roaches, so many queens, so many broodlords, so many infestors. The tech and the spell capability of this army. No, get out of there! Those infestors are going to destroy those Void Rays. There's so much mana on those infestors, and they move so fast on the creep. This Stalker is in the wrong place at the wrong time. He wishes he called in sick today. The pylon goes down. The Brutals seem to like to play let's copy the pylon, and they die as well. Voider is coming in here. They're gonna get some free kills, but they need to back up right away. Here come the infestors. Good bait tactics. I like it. I like it. Bait and switch. He comes in, he attacks, he does damage, he leaves. If you can keep the Zerg player dancing around like this, it'll be good for him. There are still no corruptors out for the Zerg player. It'd be hilarious to see a nuke hit this space right now. That would make me smile so hard. But anyway, Void Ray is going to come in here, going to cause some shit. He does actually snipe a Corruptor. He's going to get, looks like he's going to be able to get a hatch too. He's got to get out. Those infestors are coming. They do catch 4 Void Rays. They will be able to chain fungal those 4 Void Rays. They will die. There is nothing you can do about this. And there it goes. 4 Void Rays down. Oh, it's so painful to watch. Anyway. So, Protoss player building up a reasonable army. He's maxed once again. I don't know why he always does this. He gets maxed and then he sits around and waits. And guys, because this game is so long, I hope you allow me to take this drink. And even if you don't allow me to take this drink, I'm taking it anyway, and you can go fuck yourself. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. We can still be friends, I promise. Ah! Hey, hi, welcome back. I didn't mean what I said earlier. You're gonna still watch this game, right? I know you want to. Anyway, Void Ray, Stalker, Colossus, Zealot, Archon, Cannon, Nexus, pylon. Probes. Statue. Statue died. Oh, is he gonna all in with his probes? No, why would you do that? Oh, he's freeing up supply for his army. That you do not want to be a probe in Mana's army. They don't get treated very well. Oh dear God. Once again, Zealot. Oh, he actually took down a roach. That was pretty freaking badass. That Zealot just fought roaches 4-on-1 and he managed to kill one. You pimp motherfucker. Anyway, lots of High Templar here, which he will need to deal with this. All of this. Look how many infestors there are. There are 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 infestors. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. Oh, probes. Probes. Oh, Jesus. We are seeing, oh my God, yes, we are seeing carriers. Oh, that makes me smile. Keep in mind though, oh dear God, there is neural parasite. Oh dear. No. I can see, I know exactly how this game is going to end. We are seeing the Graviton Catapult for the Protoss player. 2 carriers coming out. He evaporated his own harvesters to max out his army even harder. Look at all the Broodlords, which Broodlord Infestor, man, I don't even know what to tell you. That is, oh my God. Oh my God. Anyway, look at all the Void Rays out again. Stalkers on the ground. High Templar, Archons, Zealots. I mean, this shit's, it's only 3-1. Why would you not finish your upgrades this late in the game? Excuse me. 1-0. 1-1. Come on, you are maxed. What do you have to spend money on other than upgrades? Oh, gonna come in, we're gonna receive some creep, gonna back out. Very good play by the Protoss. If he can whittle down the roach count too, that would be good for him. But he does not want to get caught by infestors. Absolutely not. That observer, it can't do any more moving around it or will get spotted by these infestors. And holy crap, what a long game, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the 51-minute mark. And I'm getting a little bit sleepy. Just saying. But I can't look away. I don't know how these players must be exhausted. I mean, all I'm doing is talking. I don't have to think about this. And holy crap, they must be just like, I want to die. I want to, like, think of the Broodlords, man. These guys have to hover in place. They're not allowed to lay down. I mean, somebody needs to grab these. They need to grab the Broodlords a chair. Oh, I see a stalker leg. I do. Anyway, one of these guys has one less friend, and they're gonna chill in their little clump. They do not want to get ambushed by infestors. That's why they are split this way. And Mana is actually checking all his zealots to make sure they are not changelings. And I like that a lot. But I mean, the damage is done. The Zerg player sees exactly what was sitting here because of that changeling. And that's some bad news bears for the Protoss player. There are so many spines here. I'm worried that even if he kills this Zerg army, he will not be able to finish the spines. I mean, he's got Void Rays, yeah, but I imagine most of the Void Rays will go down in the engagement. What the hell? There's so many Broodlords. They're just going to cloud the infestors. If the infestors sit under those Broodlords, the Protoss player won't even be able to get close. He won't even be able to focus fire the infestors, which is going to be awful. Hopefully, look at the carrier count. We are starting to see lots of carriers. I don't know where they are. There's carriers. We have 5 carriers out. I hope... I'm going to cry all over the floor if those carriers get neural parasited. Neural parasat? Neural parasat. I want to see a crop. How much supply do Broodlords take? It looks like this army is too big. Looks like there's too much supply here. Regardless, freaking regardless, this army is going to push up the map, and this is going to be one scary engagement. And I'm going to put one last burst of energy into getting really excited for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. The Broodlords are attacking the high ground, destroying the Protoss' production, so even if this engagement goes well for the Protoss and he tries to remax, he will not have the gateways to do so. He's waiting for his last few carriers to pop. He's got one more. Why he didn't go for a mothership, I don't know. That extra little bit of firepower and cloak will do so much damage. Archons getting in before the Infestors were ready. They're worse. Look at those. Oh, the Infested Terran just melt. Fungal Growth going down on the Chargelets and the High Templar. Feedback going down on the Infestors. So much damage going down on the Infestors. The Roaches are melting. The High Templar are trying to get into the backline. There are 3 Infestors left. The Roaches were in the way, so the ground units couldn't get to the Infestors. There is no Neural Parasite on the Carriers, but there's Fungal Growth on the Void Rays. Now there is Fungal Growth on the Carriers, and the Carriers are melting, but the Broodlords are dying because there's nothing to fight back against a Protoss Air Fleet. Oh my goodness, this game is going so well for the Protoss player. I did not think this would happen. He is now pushing forward into the Spore Crawlers, into the Spine Crawlers. There is an Overseer actually was chilling in this army, and it just died. Like, hey man, I'm just here for the ride. And oh my gosh, guys, I don't think the Zerg can turn this around unless he shits out a ton of Corruptors, which he is trying to do. He does not have anything to fight back against this. There are Broodlords left on the field. If the Zerg player can finish off this air fleet, which I'm sorry, but I think that is impossible at this point, as they are regenerating their shields, and there are Stalkers on the ground to support them with Blink and with weapons upgrades. They are at weapons 3. No Corruptor will stay in the air long enough to even fire at this army. There are no Infestors left, and he won't have the gas to create more Infestors. That is, sorry, just not enough Corruptors, and with only weapons 1, you don't stand a chance against this arsenal with the Stalkers on the ground. We see, wow, Interceptors, air to ground. Do they even, I don't even know what weapons upgrade works for them. Weird. Anyway, they're doing 8 damage, regardless of what the air upgrades are. I guess I can check a Void Ray, right? They are weapons 3. Yikes, that is freaking scary. Zerg player, I think you're shit out of luck, man. So actually, Dimaga, I'm not sure what he's working on here, but he's got to pull something out fast. He's got a lot of Lings, he's got a lot of Corruptors, a lot of Broodlords, but I just don't think it's enough. Actually, 1 Infestor left in the army with full energy. The Queens are going to try to keep him standing, man. Transfuse your ass off. But you can't transfuse something that dies instantly. That's just not something that is possible. And look at the Stalkers blink in onto the Broodlords. They're going to try to focus fire those Broodlords as the air-to-air battle is intense. Fungal Growth going down on the Carriers, and it was just not enough. With the focus fire from the Stalkers, those Broodlords were made short work of, and Dimaga finally GG's after an hour-long game. Mouse Mana GG's in return. This was a very, very intense game, and my throat wants to leave my body. Anyway, guys, I'm SSN Incarnum. You're watching StarCraft Inc. This game was epic.